What's going on, Big Blue Nation? Sports fans all around the world. It's your brother, Black Friday. Here with some information, man. A bombshell today. Pat Leonard dropped. Daily News. Shout out to Pat Leonard. Shout out to the brothers, man. Shout out to Shakedown Crew. You know the crew is real. We literally just had a conversation about some of this information last night. Me and Edie Chosen One got into it. He said, yo, man, Daboll's a B-I-T-C-H. You know what I mean? He one of them. And I'm like, yo, Wink, seemed like he on the sucker tip too. It seemed like both of them on the sucker tip, but I was feeling with the new information, Wink was more on that sucker-ish than Daboll was. Well. With new information comes a new perspective. Shout out to my brother Edie Chosen One from the Bronx, because he was on the Daboll was a sucker train, right? And apparently looks like he's right. So according to this article from Pat Leonard, let's start with the Mike Kafka stuff. Ooh, nasty. So pretty much, it looks like from this interview, he has been undermining Mike Kafka the whole time, especially this season. One of the excerpts says he would make Kafka run the ball, and then if he called a run Daboll didn't like, he would motherfucker him. Wow. Across the headset, just imagine you trying to do your job and your boss is like, that's the wrong one, you dumb mother, beep, beep, beep. You know what I mean? Crazy activity. Another portion of the Kafka series of this drama. Daboll took play calling from Kafka, as we all knew. We could see it. It was apparent. The eyes don't lie, bro. Daboll took play calling from Kafka multiple times, according to sources, and gave it back each time. How crazy is that? Daboll took over Kafka's offensive meetings in Week 7. Wow, took over the whole meeting. Ahead of a home game against Washington, as the Daily News first reported. Man, Pat Leonard, they was on this, huh? And he did not give complete control back to Kafka until Week 11. After the offense had averaged 11.7 points during that 1-3 stretch. With Kafka back at the reins, the Giants scored 24 or more points in 5 of their final 7 games. Wow. So it seemed like Brian Daboll, man, has got an issue, and we can see it. It's called control, man. And it seems like this is, what happens when you get immense amounts of power sometimes, man. You go out of control, you know what I mean? And we can see it on the sidelines, man. Him just, being just, irate about whatever's happening currently in the game, losing his composure, in which if he's not composed, how is the team composed? That's how we get the breakdowns, man. That's how we get the breakdowns and poor situational football based off of the coach, being discombobulated within himself. You know what I mean? You already have, the opposing team that's strategizing against you. How are you now, hindering your own staff? Crazy, just a crazy situation, man. Pat Leonard also goes on to say, then poor situational football cost the Giants their 2 worst losses. In Week 6 at Buffalo, when Tyrod Taylor received a play call with a run check at the goal line before halftime. We all remember that one. And in Week 8 against the Jets, when Daboll sent an injured Graham Gano out and missed a field goal with, come on, man. We can see the man laboring. It was crazy. It just didn't make any sense, man. And it's kind of crazy because you can hear, even the telestrators, I forgot who was calling the game that time, basically stated, man, you can see this guy limping out there, and they, why would you even put him out there? You know what I mean? But it said, when Daboll sent injured Graham Gano out to miss a field goal when 1 yard would have ended the game. That is crazy. That is absolutely crazy. And shout out to Mike Kafka, man. Just looking at him, man, I'm screaming like, yo, why don't you come down to the field and see and feel the field and feel the plays and, so you can get a better call on the game. But now I know why he didn't want to come downstairs. He didn't want to have to deal with the hellion in the headset and see him in person with the glares and the stares and feel the body language. He didn't want to deal with it. I get it now. Shout out to Mike Kafka, man. He was a battered and bruised employee. But let's go on with some more of this tea here. Some of this Giants tea. All right. So Pat Leonard also stated that, man, this is crazy. So let's get on to the Wink portion of this. He said in the Week 10 blowout at Dallas, the Giants offense had 27 yards and 1 first down in the first half. The Giants defense caved and allowed 640 yards in total. Daboll ripped the defense so frantically and consistently after positive Cowboy plays that it was inferring with Wink Martindale's play calling process, according to sources. Several sources said Martindale asked Daboll to stop so he can get the next call play in. The next week, Schoen was on the headset to monitor the situation for himself. Joe Schoen. Wow, okay, so let me process some of that. So technically, this man was so impeding on Wink Martindale's job. And I'm pretty sure some complaints came from somewhere, because if Joe Schoen had to, get on the headset and, monitor the children's behavior. This is crazy. Crazy, man, just crazy. Another quote it says one of the sources said that you're living on the edge every week. It makes it tough for you to do your job. Damn, man. Based off of that, you start getting, waves of that coming out of the building, and nobody's going to want to come here to work. That sounds crazy, man. That just sounds crazy for professional men to be operating in these sorts. But I digress. Let me read more. More tea. Crazy. Just crazy. Let me skim through this, man. It's a lot. He has a excerpt here where it says where it went wrong with Wink, right? And so a lot of this we kind of already know. Like, so from the beginning of training camp, there were reports coming out that Wink was blitzing so much that Brian Daboll could not install his packages in camp. Meaning it was putting limitations on the camp and making the defense look one-sided versus the offense. In which the offense was, had all that question coming out of, that camp. Everybody's so pumped up for the offense to do what it was going to do, and what you didn't do, rather, I should say. So let's take a look here. Let's take a look at some. I want to get some of the tea, some of the dirt. Let me see here. This is where a lot of the stuff started here. Oh, the good stuff here with Xavier. Let's take a look here. It says the handling of safety Xavier McKinney, public's criticism of the Giants coaching staff after the loss on Week 9 to the Raiders was a good window into the Daboll-Martindale riff. So I guess this is the point to where we were talking about this as well yesterday. Once again, make sure you tune in to it's Saquon Disgruntled. We just recorded that live yesterday. We got into the McKinney thing because it kind of went to a point to where the defense had to play a perfect game because the offense was just sputtering out of control, and they couldn't do nothing, as we all know, right? So, but they wind up coming away with 31 takeaways, and the offense only had 25 touchdowns. But when McKinney's coming out with this is all frustration, right? Basically trying to do your job. So he comes out, and basically states, it's not all on the defense. Don't do that now. That type of thing. And Martindale comes out there, kind of gives him a pow, slaps him on the wrist, and then Daboll comes out, and you can kind of see the tension there from my perspective, at least. And then I believe it was the Patriots game that happened, and he got the game ball. And it looked disingenuous, but prior to that, Jay Glazer had already come out and basically stated that these two were in a bad place. But that was like right before the McKinney stuff, right? Just crazy information. Once again, shout out to Pat Leonard. In conclusion, man, because really we know the ending, right? We know what the ending was. Too many egos, man. Too many egos, man, and that's what usually winds up happening. You know what I'm saying? When they say alphas clash, but I figure it this way: if you are an alpha, if you're a true alpha per se, right? Because a lot of people say that and they walk in the beta state. But if you're a true alpha, then you should be able to at least command a room full of alphas. But if you can't do that, and you know you're always fighting and bickering, then yeah, they gotta go. And the handling of this, it was just, you know, from the optic standpoint, it's just terrible, man. Just terrible for the franchise, terrible for the fans, and it's unfortunate, man, because we know how it all ended, man. You know, they fired Winks guys, the guy that pretty much did all the game planning for his defense, his right-hand man. Him and his brother, they had to go. According to what we seen from the outside linebackers, it didn't look too great. Some of that stuff there, and they let him go, man. And then once they let him go, Wink Martindale's like, that's my guy. That's the guy that helps me run my thing. I'm out of here. You know, said some explicitives. Go F yourself, Mr. Brian Daboll, and walked out of the situation. Shout out to Pat Leonard, man. He's been giving us the tea. It's a lot of good beat reporting there, man. And they finally, I believe, releasing the hounds, because the respect in the building as far as, you know, accountability and credibility. Because you say one thing and then your actions do another. There's no respect for that. You know, that's not manly behavior. That's not good human behavior. But man, terrible stuff going on in the Giants building, man. But we shall keep an eye on this. We shall keep an eye on this and see how this progresses. What I want to say is, man, shout out to the crew. Shout out to the Shakedown crew. Y'all stay tuned in for way more information. Like and subscribe. Join the tribe. It's Black Friday. And I'm out.